I have a lot of questions for you, but maybe before asking the questions, if you want to tell us who you are and what you're doing.
Of course. So my name is Simon Mundy. I'm a journalist covering sustainability issues for the Financial Times, UK-based, very international publication, as you know. For the last 2 years, I was working on a book full-time called Race for Tomorrow. And I spent 2 years traveling through 26 countries, looking at the ways in which people all over the world are responding to the climate crisis. Some of them are very rich people, some of them are very poor people, some are, from every walk of life in every part of the world. So that was the book that I've just been writing. It came out about 10 days ago, and it's on sale all over Europe, all over the world. And so far, people seem to be enjoying it, but also learning things about the climate crisis from it. So that's very, very good for me to see as the author.
What is the best way that the youth can raise awareness about climate change, can be involved in this climate change issue that our generation has to deal with?
Well, it's a really good question. And so I'm 35, so I don't think I quite count as youth anymore, unfortunately.
Almost.
Honestly, and I really mean this, I think I can't really tell the youth what they should do because they're doing a really good job. A really good job. I started working on my project, the initial stages, in 2017. And at that time, climate change was not at the center of the economic, political conversation. Now, 4 years on, absolutely the center. Why? The single biggest reason is Greta Thunberg and the movement that she spearheaded. And I really mean that. And I speak to a lot of business people in my job for the Financial Times. Everyone is very, very aware of this. So I can give my opinions on what I think is working best among what the young people are doing. I think it's a matter of being very firm. Personally, I think non-violent demonstrations are best. I think you have some people who think it's helpful to smash the windows of McDonald's or things like this. I personally think non-violent, peaceful protest is extremely powerful because it's very difficult to criticize. You have young people who are marching peacefully, saying they want a brighter future. I mentioned some of these people in my book, some of the things that seem to be working best. I think that's very powerful. And in terms of the message, I think they need to be very firm and very specific in what they criticize. Don't just say, because one of the things that people say when they push back is, oh, they don't say what they want. So say what you want. Do the research and say, we need, for example, a serious carbon pricing system, and this is how we can get there, or whatever you think is needed. The more specific you are and the more peaceful you are, the more difficult it is for these people in big business to push back against you.
Yeah, that's what we need, more action, more passive protest, passive activism, more peaceful activism from the youngsters. What about arts? How can we use arts or culture to better communicate about climate change? Because we know that climate change is a topic that sometimes can be quite scary, quite depressing, I would say, and we are all sometimes anxious about this issue. How can we use maybe storytelling, which is what you do, or arts at large to better communicate about climate change?
This is why, as I was saying earlier, it's really great to meet you and hear about your projects. I think we both have, you and your team and me, we have a similar view on what is needed, or one thing that is needed here, which is storytelling. I think for many people it's very difficult to engage with the climate crisis because it's so big and there is so much to learn and there are so many statistics. Where do you start? And I think a good place to start is through storytelling. I think that's what you're trying to do with your work, what you're doing with these and other interviews, and what I try to do with the book. So the book is a collection of stories of women and men from all over the world giving their perspectives. It's not my opinion. There is some of my opinion at the end, but it's the stories of individual people, places. That is how you can reach people. If you talk about, for example, if you're trying to reach someone and make them realize how serious the situation is, you can talk to them about, in the future, there will be millions of climate refugees. And the people will notice that and they'll take it seriously. But if you talk to them in detail about the story of one person who is already a climate refugee, you tell that story in detail. Maybe you even play a video of that person telling their story. You show a picture of that person. People are going to remember that. I think, more than they will remember a big number. So I think that's something we can do a lot to make people realize the seriousness of the situation. You tell them the stories of individual human beings who are already feeling the impact, as well as the stories of individual human beings who are already doing amazing things in response. And I think it's through those stories of humans that we can really reach people and start moving things forward.
All right. Thank you so much, Simon.
Thank you. Real pleasure.